list ADT. ADT stands for abstract data type. So in this class, you are going to see what is list linear data structure, okay, and how to implement them, how to implement the list. For that, we can use array implementation or linked list implementation. So linked list is basically it's a one kind of list. We are going to use these linked lists for implementing any data structures. Then we'll see the basic operations that we can perform on linked list: insertion, find, delete, print, or deleting a specific element. Okay, and we have two specific variations of linked list. One is circular linked list, and the other one is doubly linked list. So if time permits, we will see the circular linked list and doubly linked list. General linked lists are said to be singly linked list. Okay, singly linked list, doubly linked list, and circular linked list. So let's move into the definition. Okay, what is list? Okay, basically list is a sequence of zero or more elements. Zero or more elements as shown here: a1, comma a2, comma a3, comma so on up to an. A sequence of zero or more elements. Sequence of zero or more elements with some properties. Say the length of the list is n here. There are n elements, n sequence. Okay. AI, A1 is the first element, AN, okay, A with subscript n, index n is the last element. AI, the position ith element. If A of 3, that means it's the third element. A of n means nth element. A of 1 means first element, like that, okay. If n equals to 0, then list is empty, there are no elements. And all these elements are they are linearly ordered. AI precedes AI plus 1, AI follows AI minus 1. Okay, AI precedes AI plus 1, that means A of 1 precedes A of 2. Okay, what is A of 2 here? I plus 1. What is I? If I equals to 1, I plus 1 is 2. A of 2 precedes A of 1, A of 3 precedes A of 2, like that. Similarly, A of I, A of 2 follows A of I minus 1, 2 minus 1, that is 1. Okay, A of 2 follows A of 1, right? So the list is simply it's a sequence of zero or more elements with some linear order among the elements. There is some relation, right? So how to implement this? How to implement this list? This list can be implemented either by using arrays or by using linked list. But there is a problem with the arrays implementation. So arrays have its own drawbacks. Okay, that we'll see. So before going to see that, let me show you the operations that we can perform on the list. Okay, these are the operations. You can print the list elements. You can clear the list elements so that I mean clearing in the sense we are deleting all the elements. We are making the list empty. Okay, or you can find the position of an object in a list. So suppose if the list contains 34, 12, 52, 16 and 12, then find of 52 will give you the position of that particular element, that is 3. If you observe here, 52 is positioned at the third location of the list. Okay, so this will give you the index. The find of 52 will give you the index of this element, that is third index. This element is stored at the third index, right? Similarly, insert an object to a list. Say suppose I want to insert my element at a new location, at a specific location, say after 52 or after the third location. So that can be done through this insert x comma 3, where x is the position where you want to insert. Okay, sorry, x is the element to be insert and 3 is the index where you want to insert, or the position where you want to insert. Okay, say I have given third, I mean 3 here, that means I want to insert my x after the third position. Okay, so the newly inserted element will be inserted after the index that is given here. Here I have given 3, the element that I'm going to insert is X. X is to be inserted after the third location, that is fourth location. Okay, delete an element from the list. So suppose if you give 52, so it has to first call the find operation. The find operation will give you the position of 52. Then you have to delete that element. Okay, we'll remove that element. Okay, once you remove that element, it is no longer present in the list. After deletion, you will have only 34, 12, 16 and 12. Okay, see, you can have duplicate elements in the list as long as they are placed in different locations. It is perfectly okay, it is legal. Okay, and you can do operations like find kth operation, retrieve the element at a certain position. Okay, I want to know the element which is placed at the fourth position. Okay, find kth, that means you have to give find of 4. Find of 4 will return the element which is present at the fourth location. Okay, in this particular case, the element that is placed at the fourth location is 16. Is it will retrieve 16? Now, how to implement this list editing? So list editors can be implemented by using either by using arrays or by using linked list. Okay, if you go for array implementation, then what happens is the same is the case with the queues array implementation. Okay, the same thing. After deleting some elements, what happens is those elements are going to be empty. We cannot insert our new elements into those locations, even though it is logically allowed. If you insert new elements into the deleted element locations, what happens is that may update the relationship. I mean, that may change the relationship among the elements. Say suppose if I am considering ascending order of elements, okay, 1 2 3 4 5 6 like that. Say suppose array size is 10. I have inserted elements from 0 to 10 in the same order, 0 1 2 3 4 so on up to 9. Okay, after deleting some elements, say I have deleted first 4 elements. Now I want to insert new elements into the list. So the new element that I'm going to insert at the 0th location is 10. Okay, now I have made 4 insertions. I have inserted 4 elements, say 10, 11, 13, 14, 14. Okay, after that I have 4, 5, 6, 7 like that up to 9. Okay, now these elements are not in linear order. Okay, they are not in ascending order. Okay, the new insertions, they have changed my the property of the or the structure of the list. That should not be happen. That should not be happen. If you go for array implementation, this would happen. Okay, hence that is one drawback. That is one drawback with the array implementation. The other one is the general thing is there is no boundary check in array implementation. Okay, boundary check in the sense, say suppose you have declared an array of size, let us assume you have declared an array of size say 5. Okay, and you can do something like this: array of 5 equals to 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. Okay, you can initialize like this. So if you observe here, the length of the initialization list is 7, but my array size is 5. Okay, even though the array size is 5, though I have given a list of 7 elements for initializing the array, it will take. Okay, it won't give you any error. It won't give you any error. It will take the first few elements. Those elements, I mean the first 5 elements will be inserted into this array. The remaining 2 elements will be inserted after that. Okay, in the next 2 locations. But the problem with this is these 2 locations are untraced. We cannot trace them. Why? Because we don't have their base address. Logically, they are not part of this array. Even though if you increment the index a of 5 plus 1, okay, that may point to this location, but you will get an error. If you do like that, you will get an error. Why? Because a of 5 plus 1 is not part of this array. Okay, that index is not with you. That index points to this location, even though you increment the a of, I mean a of 6 points to this location, but sixth location is not part of this array. Logically we cannot get this, we cannot get this. That means there is no way to retrieve this sixth and seventh element. Okay, so this is what we call boundary check. There is no boundary check in arrays. Okay, there is no boundary check in arrays. Even though we have given 5 elements, it can take more than 5 elements, but those elements which are beyond the fifth location, they cannot be traced back. They cannot be traced back. If you go on inserting into these locations, we don't know their, we don't have their addresses. We can't delete them further. Uh, which is, I mean, which always, I mean, sometimes it leads to inefficient organization of the memory. Okay. Another problem with the array implementation is that it is predefined. I mean, the size is predefined size. Okay, so suppose in this particular case I have given 5, size is 5. That means it will allocate only 5 contiguous, I mean your compiler will allocate only 5 contiguous memory locations. Okay, so suppose you want to insert few more elements into this array, then what you have to do? You have to resize your array in such a way that to insert the new elements. Okay, array size is predefined. If you want to insert more elements, either you have to create a new array or you have to resize the existing array. Okay, that is another problem. That means we cannot resize or increase or decrease the size of the array while executing the program. During the runtime, we cannot decrement the array size or increment the array size automatically. Okay, so that is another problem. And moreover, all these elements are placed in the contiguous memory locations. Your array is, whenever you declare an array, it will allocate a contiguous piece of memory, contiguous block of memory, continuous memory locations. Say suppose if there are no, if they are not available, say suppose your requirement is 100, but there are no contiguous memory locations, 100 contiguous memory locations in your memory. Non-contiguously they are available, say some 25 at one location and 15 one location, another 15 in another location. Okay, another 20 in another location. Okay, then followed by say another 25 in another location, but they are not contiguous, I mean contiguous. Okay, but our requirement is, if it is an array, we need 100 contiguous memory locations. Even though your memory is empty, okay, it can accommodate 100 elements, but they are in, I mean the memory locations are, they are in blocks of size, say 25, 15, 15 and 20 and 25 in a random, in a shuffled manner. We cannot declare an array of size 100, even though we have 100 empty locations, but they are not contiguous. We cannot create. Your compiler will give you an error. There is no sufficient memory to create the required array. Okay, so this problem is called compaction. Okay, so if there is a compaction, we cannot use arrays. Okay, so to overcome these difficulties, we'll go for linked list. Okay, now we'll see what is linked list and what are all the operations. Linked list is basically, it is a linear data structure. We'll see what is linked list. Yeah, this is array implementation. We have already see this. Okay, so in the linked list implementation, what happens is it is basically it's a dynamic uh, implementation, dynamic way of implementing the list. Okay, as and when you want to add a new element into the list, there itself we will create a new location. Okay, as and when we require a new location, we'll create it and we'll insert a new element into the new location. Okay, if a particular element is no longer needed, then we can free that memory location. Okay, and these elements are, they are stored in non-contiguous fashion, okay, and we are maintaining, I mean, all these elements of, they're logically they are in the same list, but they are not physically contiguous. They may be stored somewhere, okay, in the memory, but we are maintaining the links between them. Okay, these links are nothing but the addresses. Okay, as you can see here, in in a linked list, we use a series of structures that are not necessarily adjacent in memory. Okay, we are going to use a series of structures. We will see what structure that we are going to use in linked list in a short while. Okay, we are going to use a series of structures that not necessarily adjacent in memory. So this is how our linked list will look like. Okay, as you can see here, this is one structure. Usually this structure is called node. This is another structure, another structure, another structure, another structure. Similar structures. Okay, so I have created 5 similar structures, and if you observe here, there is a link between the first structure and the second structure and this third structure to fourth structure. These elements, these structures may be stored in non-contiguous locations, but hello, some noise is coming from, hello, please please mute your mic. Somebody is talking. Yeah, these structures, they're positioned, or they're placed at non-contiguous locations, but we are maintaining these links. The structure 1 is having a link which stores the address of the next structure in the list. Similarly, A2 is having a link which stores the address of the next structure in the link, that is A3. Okay, right? You got my point? Now, when it comes to this structure definition, this structure contains two fields. In the first field, we are going to store the data element. In the first field, we are going to store the data element. The data element is A1 in this particular case. And the second field is a pointer field actually. Okay, what is pointer? Pointer is a variable which holds the address of another variable. Usually we use pointers to hold the addresses of another variable. Here also we have used a pointer. This field is a pointer field which holds the address of another structure. Similar structure, we can say. Okay, that is the reason why we'll call them as self-referential structures. Self-referential structures. Okay, linked list is a collection of self-referential structures. This pointer points to another same kind of structure or the same kind of node, we can say. Okay, often these structures are said to be nodes. In data structures terminology, these are said to be nodes. Our node contains two fields. The first field is used for data, to store the data, and the second field is a link field or the pointer field. Okay, this link field points to the next element in the list. Data, and the last, the last node's next pointer points to null. Null means there is no next element. Null. Okay, so this is how we'll arrange the elements. You may ask, sir, here we are for storing one element, we are using 2 memory locations. No, yes, Yes, we need more memory locations. If we go for more linked list implementation of the list, we need more memory locations than the array. Okay, if you want to store 5 elements in array, we need only 5 memory locations. But in linked list, in LL, we need 10 locations. Why? Why? Because for each element, we are storing the element and one additional location to store the address of the next element, link field. Okay, it will double the size of the array. So we need more memory locations when compared to array size. But the advantage with the linked list is that these can be, I mean, the linked list can be uh, created instantly as and when it is required. Okay, so suppose I want to delete this element, I can delete it. All that I need to do is I have to adjust this pointer in such a way that it points to the next element, A3, so that A2 is deleted. You can free this location, so that this location, I mean the memory occupied by this location, I mean the memory occupied by this E2, A2 can be used for some other program. Okay, so you can grow and shrink the list as and when it is required. Okay, so that means we can dynamically create the list as and when we require. Okay, that is the big advantage with the linked list. All these structures are, they are non-contiguous, they're not stored in contiguous memory locations. Only we are maintaining the links. Through links we are accessing the next elements. Okay, so in this particular setup, if you want to access the linked list, you need to know the starting element. So once you know the starting element address or the reference of the starting element, then by following these links, if A1's next is A2, A2's next is A3, A3's next is A4, A4's next is A5, A5 next is null. Okay, that means that is an indication of the last element. Okay, its next is null, means there is no further elements in the list. There are no further elements in the list. Okay, right? So if you want to print all these elements, all that you need to know is, you need to know this base address, the starting element address, print the starting element, then follow these links, print the next element, follow this link, print the next element, follow this link, print the next element. Continue like that until you encounter the last node. Okay, now we'll see the structure definition of the linked list. Okay, so each node, generally we call this structure as node. Okay, we use this term node to refer to this structure. Each node contains the element and a pointer to a structure containing its successor. A2 is A1 successor. So A1 node contains a field to hold the A1 data and a link field which points to hold the address of its successor, that is A2. A2's address is stored in A1's link field. Similarly, A3's address is stored in A2's link field. Okay. Compared to the array implementation, the pointer implementation uses only as much space as is needed for the elements currently on the list, but requires space for the pointers. As I told you earlier, we require additional space for the pointers. But when compared to array, it is more flexible. Okay, while for performing insertions and deletion operations. Right. So as you can see here, linked list is a series of connected nodes or self-referential structures. Each node contains at least one piece of data, any type, okay, and a pointer to the next node in the list. Okay, here any type of data you can place, but there in arrays is a collection of homogeneous data only, Okay, here you can, at node 1 you can place A, at node B you can place 1, at node C you can place some floating point number, say 12.3 or something like that. It's a general list. Okay, that is not possible with the array implementation. Arrays can hold only homogeneous data, elements of same type. It's a collection of elements of same type, right? So pointer to the next node in the list. Now what we'll do is generally we use some sentinel nodes like head and tail. Okay, head is a pointer which points to the first element in the list, and tail is a pointer which points to the last element in the list. This head node and tail node are usually referred as sentinel nodes. Sentinel nodes, they are for just for marking purpose. Okay, so in order to better understanding your list elements, you need to maintain these head and tail nodes. Okay, head pointer point to the first node, the last node points to the null element of the tail node, we can say. So a simple linked list can be implemented like this. Okay, so let me show you the structure. Actually this is the C++ implementation, but now for the time being, so if you want to create such nodes in C, all that you need to do is you have to use struct keyword. You have to create a structure, struct node. Okay, by default in structures all are public. Okay, I have created two variables. There are two structure members. One is of type double and the other one is of type node star. What is node star? Node pointer. Okay, integer pointer like int star p, int asterisk p is a pointer which points to, which holds the address of an integer. Okay, some float pointer, float asterisk say C. Now C points to a floating point element. C holds the address of a floating point element. Okay, so pointer, integer pointer cannot hold the floating point address, floating point data address, or the floating point pointer cannot hold the integer integer address. I mean integer data address. Okay, so that is the reason why we have declared a node pointer here. Node pointer holds the its successor node address. Okay, here we have created a structure called node. Whenever you created a user defined data type, whenever you create a structure, it will act as a user defined data type. Okay, now the node will act as a user defined data type. We have declared a pointer of type node. Okay, the pointer name is next. It is of type node star. That means it can hold the address of the similar structure, another node, right? You got my point? So that is the reason why these linked lists are said to be self-referential structures. The structure points to another structure. Okay, one structure points to another structure in the list. Usually the successors in the list. Okay, so what are all the operations that we can perform on linked list? The operations are, we can perform these operations: isEmpty operation, insert a new node, finding a particular node, deleting a node, display the entire list. These are the operations that we can perform on list. So we can check whether the list is empty or not. Okay, and we can insert an element into a new position at a specific location, insert at the front or insert at the tail. These are also the other possible operations with the insertion. And we can find a particular node, find a node with a given value, delete a node with a given value, display list, print all the elements in the list. Okay, so these are the operations. So if you want to insert a new element into the list, linked list, all that you need to do is, when index is 0, insert the node as the first element. When index is 1, insert the node after the first element, and so on. If the insertion is successful, return the inserted node, otherwise return null. So this is the algorithm. This is the algorithm. So let me show you. Say suppose, let us assume initially your linked list is empty. You want to insert a new element. All that you need to do is you have to create a new node. So this is my newly created node, new node. Okay. So you can do this by your dynamic memory allocation functions. Like we have cloc, malloc, and realloc. Okay, there are, I think you might have studied this in your C course, dynamic memory allocation. Okay, by using cloc and malloc, you can create objects as and when they are required. Okay, either by calling cloc or malloc, we can create a new node. Okay, after creating, what you have to do, you have to insert into the data position of the new node, you have to insert your data, say x, and the link field, initially the link field is null. Why? Because this is our first element. This is our first element. We'll create one more pointer, that is header pointer. Now header pointer points to what? This new node. This new node. Now if you want to insert one more element, create a new node. This is my new node. Now insert your new element, say y. New node next is null. Okay, now header next, this is the header node. Now header node next is, initially it is null. Now header node next now points to the newly inserted element, that is y. Okay, this is how we'll insert the elements. Okay, since we are running short of the time, we will continue this discussion. Okay, in the next class. Okay, that's it for today. If you have any doubts, you can ask now.